Okay, Mark, after last week whenever you came in, we went over the disclosure statement. You do understand that I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. I'm just going to help guide you in your decisions that you need to make. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. In your intake, on your intake form, Mark, you mentioned that you were having anger issues. What is it that really makes you angry? You said on there you stated that your kids have noticed that you've been real short with them lately, and that your girlfriend mentioned that you seem to be a little agitated. What's going on there? What's making you angry?
I've been kind of agitated with my kids because they won't pick up after themselves and kind of bickering amongst themselves a lot and just causing disruptions.
Okay. How do you mean by they don't pick up after themselves?
They leave dirty clothes out. They leave water bottles, wrappers of packages, their toys, games, stuff like that. They just don't pick up after themselves. And I end up doing it because I don't like things all cluttered.
Okay, and have you set out a plan, any type of guidelines for them where they have to do this or else?
No, I just, end up yelling at them, pick this up or pick that up, and getting aggravated. And, it usually takes me asking them 4 or 5, 6 times before they'll do something.
Okay, have you considered giving them a consequence for their lack of action?
No, I haven't really thought about it.
Do you think that would help any, is giving them a consequence for their actions?
It might help.
Take it,
If they, thought I would follow through with it.
Do you have a problem following through with things? With punishments and stuff?
No, not usually. I just, other than that, they're pretty good. They don't get in trouble at school or anything like that. They're just kind of lazy around the house, doing chores and stuff like
that. I feel like probably what you need to do is you need to consider maybe putting some consequences in place for their lack of actions in order to make them realize how important it is for them to pick up and clean up after themselves, and explain to them if they don't want you to be angry with them and agitated with them, then this is what they need to do to help the situation. Because it sounds to me kind of like they're agitating your situation. You also stated that you work too much. Exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, I work a regular 8 to 5, but then I'm on call 24/7, so I get called a lot from work at night, weekends. You either have to get on the computer and troubleshoot problems or go into the office frequently at night.
Okay, and if you have to get up in the middle of the night and troubleshoot something, is it something that's just completely petty, or is it something that...
sometimes it's serious, and sometimes it's something that could be easily remedied if they even attempt to fix it themselves or troubleshoot it themselves. But usually I run into problems where they will not even bother to even try to fix a problem. They'll just call immediately. It's a crutch, and it gets really aggravating when it's something really minor that they could have easily solved themselves, and they call me at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning to fix it.
Well, have you considered sitting down with your supervisor and sending out a standard email stating that if your system begins to do this, try doing this before calling after hours?
Yeah, we try to do stuff like that, but they don't really listen. They don't follow those guidelines, or, we're told that that's our job, and, we're supposed to fix it regardless of what it is.
So there again, there's follow through and initiation of rules and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like part of your frustration would fall down on the fact that there are rules in place that people seem to have problems following, and that seems to really aggravate you.
Yes, that's true.
And is there any way that you could possibly solve that issue?
I'm not the supervisor, so it's really not my job to lay down those guidelines. I just, do what my job responsibilities are, and I don't make the rules. I just play by them. I'm not in management, so I don't get to tell people what to do or how to do it.
So, as a department, there's not in the information technology department, there's nothing that your supervisor can do to help minimize some of the stress of what goes on in the after hours?
Yeah, I think there is. Whether he'll do it or not is a question, you know. But, it's not for me to tell him to do it. I can make suggestions, but I don't
And how do you do
dictate
that, via
policy.
email or face to face?
Either or.
Consider scheduling an appointment and sitting down with him and say,
We
hey,
talk-
look, we're getting a lot of calls for, system being slow. Usually a reboot fixes
Yeah,
it.
we talked about that, and we just he has the same aggravations I do. I think, but getting people to do it is another thing, and they think you're blowing them off if you just tell them to reboot. They think it's just a standard pat answer that you don't want to deal with them, so you just tell them to reboot. So.
But what do they do at home when their computer crashes?
I would imagine they reboot, but they don't want to hear that at work. They want you to just fix the problem without making them restart their computer. I think that's an inconvenience.
No,
I think it's just a stock answer that we do, that we want to blow somebody off. We just tell them to reboot. Well, if that fixes 99% of the problems, then but they still, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to do that.
Okay. So it sounds to me like maybe your boss needs to enforce some of the information technology rules.
It would help if he took a stronger stance with people, but we're in the help business, so our job, is a customer service kind of job, even though their customers are our employees. But we're not in business trying to make people mad. We want, customers always right, that kind of thing.
Okay. Is there anything else going on that seems to frustrate you and aggravate you?
I'm been aggravated with my ex-wife a lot lately.
Okay. And what is she doing that's aggravating you?
It's usually about financial issues with the kids. She seems to spend a lot of money unnecessarily, and then complain when we have a lot of expenses with the kids and want me to pay them all, and more than my share. And while she's, going on trips and buying expensive items that she doesn't necessarily need, and I don't do that. She seems to just not manage money well.
Okay. Have you sat down with her and explained it, or created a spreadsheet where you can show her in black and white what she's putting out and what you're putting out?
No, I haven't done that. I'm just trying not to create a conflict with her, keep things peaceful, and it's not my place, since we're not married anymore, to tell her what to spend her money on. It's aggravating when she's always whining about not having enough money, about when expense for the kids comes up, and so I end up paying it, but then yet she'll turn around and go on a trip to Las Vegas for a weekend by herself and leave the kids with me, or go to Scotland or Disney World or something, stuff that I don't think she can afford, or at least not from what she's telling me, and then or buy a computer, buy a TV, when she could be spending that money on the things that we have expenses for the kids.
So have y'all ever sat down and just discussed, okay, this is coming up and this is coming up, and you not pulling your fair share of the weight as far as your financial side is putting a burden on my finances?
Well, we talk about what's coming up as far as expenses, but we haven't talked about it like that. And she pays for their insurance, or it's a deduction from her salary, so that's her usual standard answer.
But does it exceed more than what you end up paying?
Lately, I've been paying more, it seems like. That's not always been the case, but as of late, there's been a lot of expenses that I've paid that she hasn't.
Okay.
And I'm not sure it's evening out right now, but maybe over the long run it has. I don't know. But it's been aggravating lately because it's really been a drain on me, and yet she's got money to spend and burn on stuff that I deem as not necessary.
Okay, at that point, you guys are divorced, and if you do not deem that it's necessary, but yet you want sit down with a spreadsheet or something and